that it came to me when I was at a meditation retreat, and I don't know when it was, like 2016 or 17. I was with a girlfriend who's a GYN oncologist, which is basically an oncologist who cares for people with gynecologic cancers. And there was this story, and it was a parable of the river. And in the parable, they described that there was a village that lived along the river. And one day there was a body that was floating in the river. The person was drowning. And so the villagers, sent someone out, rescued the body, and got them onto dry land. And then the next day there were two bodies floating in the river, and they rescued them. And then next day, four, and then eight and 16, and so on and so on. It just kept doubling. And pretty soon this village was like expert at rescuing people off the river. They had like speedboats and all this like elaborate rescue equipment. And the village elders were praising the villagers for their amazing work rescuing all the people off the river. And I looked at my friend and I said, this is Western oncology, and we are the glorified rescue workers working on the river, just pulling people out. But I was like, what the heck is happening upstream? Why is everyone falling in the river? And then why, when I get them onto dry land, am I not talking to them about why they got cancer and helping them prevent it from coming back? And so, but I think that I was starting to have awarenesses and also was willing to go there, because I think that a lot of other doctors are not as willing to question things as I am. And even for me, it took this like very dramatic experience, because I had the other people in my life telling me, why would you do this? Why would you blow up your life? You make $500,000 a year. We have a beautiful life. You want to just give that up for like what? So I think that a lot of doctors, there's no incentive for them to question it. And I think that when you start questioning, it's kind of scary, because, well, what are you going to do? You've trained your whole life. And I had, hundreds of thousands of dollars in student debt that I was paying back. And the doctors that are younger than me have more than that. So I just think that there's a lot of competing things happening for the doctors that are in the system. And then even for me, it wasn't until I got outside that I could actually start to see it more clearly.
Yes. And because you just mentioned about your colleagues, are you considered the black sheep of the oncology by your colleagues?
Well, so this is an interesting question. My colleagues haven't said much to me, um, but I think they're watching. The thing that I know is that people are watching, because I hear them say, "Oh, I saw," but they're not liking my stuff. They're not commenting on it, but I know they're watching. And the other thing, though, that I have in my career that maybe someone who just practiced wouldn't have is that I served at a very high level. Like, and also I was always very forward thinking. And right before my experience, the shared death experience in 2020, I had been nominated to become the national medical director for cancer care for the organization which I was in, which is one of the largest healthcare organizations in the United States. And in that position, I would have been responsible for 12 million Americans, cancer prevention, screening, diagnosis, treatment, the whole thing. And in the end, I made it to like the top two. So it was me and another woman. And ultimately, she got the position. And I knew that also happened for a reason, But because I had that experience, and also I was thought of as someone as kind of forward thinking, I think the colleagues are kind of intrigued, because they know in other ways I had been ahead of what we had been doing, and looking ahead. And so I think that I think I make them all nervous. I do think that that's true, but I also think they're watching. And that's part of why my podcast, I have a podcast called Born to Heal. And I had launched it back in, I think it was 2021. And I did short format to like help people with cancer, with mindset and these other things, emotional processing and managing fear, and had done that. But I just brought the podcast back, and I'm intentionally using that to bring other health professionals along with me. And in the beginning, so I just launched on February 13th, and the first couple episodes are me sharing my experience of why I left, and then walking through that, process of leaving, which was kind of messy, to be honest. And then now I'm bringing on experts because I'm a student. like, but I'm in a student in a totally different way. And so like Gerald Pollack was my first guest. And then Thomas Seyfried, who, cancer is a metabolic condition, was my second guest. I have Tom Cowan. So I'm bringing on these people to expose those people who knew me before to like, plant the seed just so that they can hear this different way of thinking.